This is CBC Here and Now.
Moment of pure panic on Duckworth Street. This vehicle drove down the street at maximum speed, colliding with other cars before crashing into this SUV and then into the India Gate restaurant. We've got the full story from people who saw the whole thing.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Carolyn Stokes. Police have just confirmed that one person is dead after a car crash in downtown St. John's today.
Witnesses say an out-of-control vehicle sped down the street, colliding with parked cars before crashing into an oncoming SUV. And people on that very busy street were shaken and left wondering just what had happened.
Here Now, Zach Gowdy is there now. So Zach, what do we know?
Well, we know that one person, an 84-year-old woman, has died as a result of this crash, and that another person was taken to hospital with what police call non-life-threatening injuries. Now, the crash happened early this afternoon, around 20 after 1. Of course, at that time, Duckworth Street was busy with people, with other cars, and that people who saw this happen tell me you could tell right away that something terrible was about to occur. And I'll show you the pictures now. You can see there are two vehicles badly damaged right at the center of this accident scene. One of those vehicles is partially covered by a tarp just in front of the India Gate restaurant. People I spoke with say that vehicle sped down Duckworth Street almost the entire length of the street, coming from the east side at what they described as top speed. They say it flew past them, that you could hear the engine gunning before they saw that car. Now that vehicle flew through the intersection at Prescott Street before it started to swerve, then collided with at least one parked car before it crashed nearly head-on into an oncoming SUV. Now that crash sent the vehicle into a spin before it finally collided with the India Gate restaurant, coming to a rest there. Of course, people in the surrounding buildings out on the street and in their other vehicles witnessed the whole thing. I spoke with Mark Party and Marek Nakonieczny. Here's how it looked from their point of view.
Saw this car, we knew that it was going to be
was
something
gonna
lethal that was
And
going to happen. We literally just started running down in the middle of the street, right?
And everyone on Duckworth Street was like, there was screams, there was, that kind of thing. And I specifically remember the car overtaking one vehicle kind of on right in front of Tim Hortons, basically. So quite a ways back from here. And then from that point that they overtook that one vehicle, there was no control. The car was not slowing down, but swerving side to side, basically until it scraped a few vehicles, I would imagine, and finally ending in the collision 100%. Here.
We called 911 essentially immediately, but couldn't get through to anybody because
so many people.
The hundreds of people that were out on Duckworth Street were all on their phone at that point. I mean, a busy working day like this on a Monday, you have people crossing all around the roads, cars everywhere. So it was lucky actually that there weren't more people injured, so we're just happy for that.
Now, of course, this section of Duckworth Street was closed to traffic for most of the afternoon. Of course, it's cleaned up now. You can still see some telltale signs, with slight damage there to the India Gate sign, some marks on the road where police marked the tires of those vehicles, and of course the powder from the deployment of the airbags. Again, the headline, one person, an 84-year-old woman, was killed in this accident today, another taken to hospital. We still don't know why that one vehicle was speeding down the street, but it's certainly a tragedy for at least one family in this province tonight, and many other people left shaken as well. Reporting live in downtown St. John's, I'm Zach Gowdy for Here and Now.
Police are investigating human remains found in Conception Bay South over the weekend. And though the RNC wouldn't confirm a connection, police were also spotted at a nearby graveyard. Here Now's Mark Quinn reports.
Police say they were called to an area in CBS very early on Saturday, around 1 a.m. They say someone had discovered partial skeletal remains. This morning, police vehicles and tape could be seen at two separate locations in Foxtrap. Here, at an old graveyard off Church Road near the ocean, and here, where the remains were found, more than a kilometer away on the old railbed behind Napa Auto Parts.
We're very much in the preliminary stages of the investigation, and I cannot confirm that those scenes are related.
Police say the chief medical officer has helped them determine that the remains are quite old and not related to any current missing persons case. They also say there's no reason to believe there's any threat to the public. Mark Quinn, CBC News, Foxtrap.
Premier Dwight Ball won't say whether or not he'll pass Budget 2019 before calling the election. A budget's required just over 3 days of debate in the House of Assembly, and if Ball chooses to skip over that, well, the election could happen quite fast. Here Now's Katie Breen is live in our newsroom tonight. So Katie, what is the Premier saying?
Well, Ball won't budge. He won't say when he's going to pass the budget. The budget is only about a week away, but the Premier says he's not thinking that far ahead. All he'll say is the public will know the province's financial situation before going to the polls. If the budget isn't passed before the election, whoever wins will have to take that on when they start. The opposition says calling the election first, before the budget goes through the House, isn't the right thing to do.
Well, that means there'd be no chance to debate it, to question it, ask annoying questions of the government. There are a lot of places where there are loopholes and money being spent that shouldn't be spent.
I am very concerned about that, really. If we don't have an opportunity to have good, solid debate on what's actually contained in the budget and actually go through the estimates process, we can easily miss an awful lot of things, and that's really not the proper way to run government.
The budget is next Tuesday, April the 16th. The election, well, that could happen anytime before the end of June. And the election call, well, that's really anyone's guess. It could happen as early as the day after the budget, next Wednesday. Live from the newsroom, I'm Katie Breen for Here and Now.
An all-party committee released its proposed changes today for handling harassment complaints. This comes after several MHAs filed complaints against others last year. Now, the committee suggests the citizens' representative should deal with the complaints instead of the Commissioner for Legislative Standards, who handled them last year. It also wants to make respectful workplace training mandatory. It also suggests looking for both informal and formal resolutions to complaints, and it wants to ensure confidentiality of the people involved in these complaints. Now, one of the MHAs on the committee had previously filed a harassment complaint. Pam Parsons says the proposed changes are significant.
Confidentiality is huge, and the work that's been done now to amend the confidentiality aspects, it certainly would have been much different. Because in my case, for example, I made a confidential complaint, but that got outed.
Well, Gander was reminded this morning that winter is not letting go. The plows were back on the roadways and the shovels back on the ground. More than 10 centimeters of snow fell since last night, and wind this morning blew it all around. And if that wasn't enough, more snow is expected this week.
Oh my God, I love shoveling, so yeah, it gets pretty easy for me.
Do you really love shoveling?
I do.
Why do you love shoveling so much?
It clears my mind. I just come out and I'm by myself, so I can just relax and take my time.
So this is like a little treat for you.
It is. I love being out here.
You must be the only person in Canada that feels that way.
Probably.
Well, it started as snow pretty much everywhere across the island, or at least on the northeast coast here on the Avalon. But taking a look at the current shot just outside the room's camera of the Narrows there, you can see it's an absolutely beautiful evening. Those temperatures today were quite warm, or rather quite cold as far as those temperatures go. -1 was the daytime high in St. John, 0 Terra Nova, heading towards the coast, sitting closer to, or at least the west coast, sitting closer to -5. And similar temperatures up through Labrador as well. Now, they have dropped quite a few degrees and will continue to do so as we head through the overnight tonight. But it does look like we should see mainly clear skies for the majority of Newfoundland. Up through Labrador, that's not the case. We're going to start to see a system offshore that's going to start to move towards the coast, and some significant snow on the way for parts of coastal Labrador, Makovic being one of them. Already seeing snow up to the rooftop. And it looks like 30 to 50 more centimeters is on the way. But I'll have all those details when I come back. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, a dramatic drop in donations has left the province's Autism Society struggling to pay its bills, and now it could be forced to lay off staff. CEO Scott Crocker says the economic downturn has hurt their fundraising efforts over the past few years, and they've seen a 50% drop in fundraising revenue. He says this year the Autism Society is short $300,000. Government has helped knock some of that down, but now the organization is looking at cutting staff. If they can't find enough extra revenue, they will have to then look at reducing programs and services that they offer to children and adults with autism.
Over the last couple of years, we've trimmed maintenance costs, property costs, admin costs, staff costs. We've trimmed as much as we can. We're at the point now where we can't trim anymore. We've already, replaced some people with other positions that are lower salaried. We've eliminated a couple of positions. So we're at the point now where we've actually got to start eliminating positions that we need. So the challenge becomes how to eliminate 4, 5, 6 positions without affecting programs too much.
And we'll hear more from the Autism Society coming up in about 30 minutes.
Fight or fold. That's the message from the man in charge of Fish NL. Ryan Cleary says the organization needs hundreds of fishermen to start paying dues.
We will close by the end of April and abandon our second attempt at certification unless inshore harvesters step up to the plate and pay their dues. I'll say it again, and again, I'm speaking directly to inshore harvesters, to their families, and to the people of rural Newfoundland and Labrador. Fish NL can do this with you. We can't do it for you.
Now, the Federation is trying to become a certified union to represent inshore harvesters. The Provincial Labour Board rejected an application last year, but Cleary says the group plans to hold another membership drive and try again. Well, here's the catch. Fish NL says it needs money to do that, at least $150,000. And to meet that goal, the Federation needs 500 people to start paying dues.
The provincial government is making sure fish plant workers can qualify for employment insurance. Crab quotas are being cut by an average of 9% in the province, and that means less processing this season. Workers who don't reach the number of hours required for EI will be topped up by government, according to Fisheries Minister Jerry Byrne. He announced $2.5 million for the program today as part of Budget 2019. Byrne says the money will be made available to workers if and when the plant they work at is shut down. And he says the announcement doesn't have anything to do with the upcoming election.
One of the criticisms in the past, and this is what we heard from many, many community leaders and leaders in the fishing industry, is that you waited until the crisis hit and then you started to set up the solution. We're not doing this. We won't do this. We will set up the solution proactively.
Well, the provincial government is stepping in to try to resolve a deep divide in the town of Northern Arm. We've been telling you about how town councillors have been fighting for months, and now a provincial inspector will try to find the root causes. Here in Now's Garrett Barry has that story.
There's been months of fighting, petitions, and resignations.
Things aren't getting done as they should, and there's a lot of rift in the community, a lot of rift within council.
And he says he couldn't avoid it any longer.
And if we ignore these things, then we are just as much at fault as they are.
So now, it's time.
I feel that the best way forward for Northern Arm at this point is to order an inspection, see what the real issues are, and at the end of the inspection, then we'll make a decision on what we do after that.
So that's two separate ones, is it?
If the report is bad, the provincial government could dissolve this council altogether. Critics in this community have called for that. They say there's no other option.
The town of Northern Arm has taken many dips since the last municipal elections in 2017.
That's not the minister's first choice.
I'm hoping that the outcome will be that we can find a solution so that Northern Arm can continue on and get a strong council in place that's there for the best interest of the people. That's what I hope. If that can't happen, then as under the Act, we do have the authority to dismiss a council. I'm hoping that it does not come to that.
The reports are usually finished in about 2 months, but Leto says they'll take as long as they need to get it right. Garrett Barry, CBC News, Gander.
And some reaction tonight from the town of Northern Arm. Mayor Michael Tremblett has told CBC he's welcoming the provincial government's investigation. He says he's confident it will show no wrongdoing in the town council, and that will allow them to move forward.
Well, tenants are back in the Neil building in downtown St. John's after a spat between owner and leaseholder last week. The Neil building's owner says tenants will get a new lease agreement. Everyone was told to leave last week after city inspectors flagged several issues, including electrical problems. The building's owner blamed the former leaseholder, City Councillor Dave Lane, for not taking care of that building. Lane was subletting the building to a number of artists, small businesses, and other organizations. He's since given up the lease, and the owner says he wants to make sure that all of the tenants can stay.
Well, it was a big night for Come From Away in London.
Yeah, the hit musical based on Gander's response to the September 11th attacks took home 4 Olivier Awards.
I want to thank the town of Gander and all the surrounding towns in Newfoundland. They effortlessly showed the world how easy it is to be kind, and so I just want to always remember that. We should just be kind to each other. So thanks, this means the world to me.
Well, the awards are the British equivalent of the Tonys on Broadway.
And Come From Away won Best New Musical. It also took home trophies for sound, music, and choreography. It's unstoppable.
I know,
right?
it's great.
I think Australia's next on the list of places it's supposed to open.
It's a great message sending around the world.
Done very well. Oh, baby. After 50 years calling the play-by-play, Bob Cole hangs up his microphone.
And the bench is ecstatic. Ron, it's been great here in Montreal. I thank you and so many people Well, we had some fun here tonight.
Bob Cole signing off from Hockey Night in Canada in Montreal Saturday night after 50 years of calling games.
Wow, the St. John's native has been the voice of hockey for generations of hockey fans. Before he retired, Hockey Night in Canada put together this tribute to Cole.
Hello, everybody. This is Bob Cole in the broadcast booth.
You always knew it was a big game when Bob Cole was calling a game. He's got the unique voice. He's the Sinatra of broadcasting.
The voice. I mean, when you hear Bob Cole, you know.
Here's Lemieux. His center penalty coming up. Look at Lemieux. Oh, my God. Oh, baby.
Lemieux, oh, baby. You know, like, it was just like such an iconic call. There's all these great plays, but they're almost enhanced by a great call.
It is Gilmore waiting around the net. Waiting. He's open. Gilmore. And he's won it.
Every game he made exciting. That's what makes him such a tremendous broadcaster.
Nobody does it better. Nobody has done it faster.
He always sets the scene and seems to know that the big moment is coming.
Shorts on there is again. Scores. And the series is a brand new one.
Had to hang on to him so he didn't jump out of his seat occasionally.
Eiserman is turning and coming in. Another shot. Score. Eiserman scores. Detroit wins the game.
He was able to paint a portrait of the game.
On a hot June night in New York, the Rangers are Stanley Cup champions.
One game, I remember Matt Sundin scored a hat trick, and he scored the overtime winner for his 500th goal.
Sundin is up there. 2 goals on the night. Matt Sundin wins the game with 500 in this terrific career. The captain of the Maple Leafs has this crowd going nuts.
The couple great memories I have was the first one when we won the first Stanley Cup. Bob Cole said, "There's a new bunch on the block."
There's a new bunch on the block in the National Hockey League. The Oilers have won the Stanley Cup.
And then the gold medal game in Salt Lake City.
It is Joe Sakic scores. Joe Sakic scores. Surely that's gotta be it.
Sounded great and sounds better every time you listen to it.
To this day, if he's calling a game and I'm not playing, I'm trying to watch it.
You feel so privileged to listen to him.
They're going home. Yeah, they're going home. Oh my goodness! Scores! Paul Correa! Can you believe it? Scores! Marchand! And the place goes crazy.
He's authentic, he's Canadian, he's entertaining, and he's ours.
Everything is happening. Could you ask for anything more? Oh, baby! Oh, baby, for sure!
Fares on the CN road cruiser service in the province will increase by 15% tomorrow. A spokesman for Canadian National says the Canadian Transport Commission decided to let the increase go ahead as scheduled.
Before Hockey Night in Canada, Bob Cole worked right here as a host on Here and Now, before it was called Here and Now.
Right, so inspiration for all of us. He got his start in broadcasting hockey and radio at VOCM, and he moved to television with us at Here and Now before moving on to calling all of those hockey games.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Order your tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
I wonder how Bob Cole is feeling today.
Yeah, well, what a great career. Those pictures with Beliveau and Lemieux and Gretzky, and what a career.
Amazing.
Yeah, fabulous.
Congratulations, Mr. Cole.
Welcome home, too.
Yeah. So how are things looking now? Is this cold weather going to stick around?
No, not like we're still going to see temperatures a couple of degrees from what we've seen today, but we should be on the plus side of the mercury for most of this week. So that's certainly good news there. But if we take a look at the satellite, or at least the satellite, you can see that low spinning off the coast of Labrador, and it's starting to make its way towards the coast, and that overnight is going to bring in some flurries, but the rest of it pulling away. So that's why we're starting to see all that flurry activity ending for Newfoundland. You can see that on the satellite radar. Not a whole lot happening. This is likely just Virga picked up by the radar. So here's looking at the future tracker. You can see things will generally clear out as we head through the overnight tonight, and then bring that cloud cover and snow right along with it up through the Labrador coast, and then potentially the northern peninsula as well. We could see a few centimeters of snow as we head through the overnight tonight, but that low is prompting a couple of blowing snow advisories from Nain down through to Hopedale, and then Makkovik is under a winter storm warning. That's where it looks like will be the hardest hit over the next couple of days as we get into the persistent snowfall into the afternoon. And then as far as those temperatures go overnight tonight, especially across Newfoundland, we're sitting around -10 for Corner Brook, -12 for Grand Falls, Windsor. Again, lower lying areas will likely see a couple of degrees cooler. Those winds will ease, especially along the west coast, not the case along the northeast coast. You're going to still see winds out of the west generally between 30 and 50 kilometers per hour. And with that, and these cooler temperatures, we're looking at wind chills in the -teens to potentially even the -20s as we head through the night tonight. Certainly up through Lab City. -25 is your overnight low with these strong winds, or rather winds at about 15 kilometers per hour. We're looking at wind chills closer to the -30s through the overnight. And then wind and snow for Nain through to Cartwright as well, sitting around -7. You're looking at about 2 to 5 centimeters of snow. But over the next 24 to 36 hours heading into Wednesday morning, look at all that snow along the coast. Now, these are model projections, but there's a good chance that we'll see anywhere from 15 to 25 centimeters, and then a bullseye around Makkovik of between 30 to 50 centimeters by Wednesday morning. So that's definitely not good news considering there's so much snow already on the ground. Heading towards western Labrador, though, sitting in the 5 to 10 centimeter range by Wednesday morning. So looking ahead into Tuesday afternoon, there's all that snow. For most of Newfoundland, it will actually be a lovely day tomorrow, and then we'll start to see that snow push in along the west coast as well as the northeast coast down to about Bonavista North. And temperatures will be a little bit more mild. So sitting on the plus side of the mercury towards the south coast, though, southern portion of the Avalon rather, hovering around the 0 degree mark, but plenty of sunshine. 4 degrees for Gander, 1 degree for Grand Falls, Windsor, and then you can see that snow. Bayvert sitting around 2 degrees with that potential for flurries, and along the west coast as well. Port aux Basques and Burgeo should stay sunny tomorrow. Winds will shift from northwesterlies to northerlies as that low gets closer and closer, and then those winds will pick up. So we're going to see gusts out of the north between 40 to 80 kilometers per hour, and there's that 20 to 30 centimeters for Makkovik, hovering around 0 degrees. Happy Valley, Goose Bay about 5 to 10, or 2 to 5 really, and then Lab City flurries and -7. So that's a look at the forecast. Looking ahead, temperatures will generally be above 0, but I'll have all those details coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, from the outside, you might not think that high school hockey and the Royal Newfoundland Regiment have all that much in common.
No, but as a way to promote the regiment and educate a younger generation about it, the Beaumont Hamel Centennial Cup was born.
The 4th version of the high school hockey tournament took place this past weekend in Paradise, and it all started with an idea from the head coach at Holy Spirit High School in Conception Bay South. Jonathan Lee thought it would be a good way to teach young people about the history of the regiment while giving them something big to compete for at the end of the season.
I thought this would make a good connection and as a good education opportunity for the kids to learn about what the regiment did, and it also gives them something major to strive for at the end of the season. And one of the things we did to honor the regiment was to put the caribou patch on both shoulders.
Our coach is telling us how privileged we should be playing this tournament and how the soldiers have fought for us, and how if they can do that, we should be able to fight our guts out just to win this tournament.
And it's really become an education piece. What we hope to do with it, or what we'd like to do with it in the future, is really sort of continue to educate the players, the community, on why it's important to remember and to recognize what the soldiers in Newfoundland did 100 years ago. And we think it's a great venue to do that within a hockey tournament. Many of the players are the same age of the kids, really, who actually went to war, who joined up and went to war 100 years ago.
Great way to bring recreation and history together. Now, by the way, the winning team for that tournament was O'Donnell Patriots team from Mount Pearl.
They defeated last year's winner Ascension Astros, Bay Roberts, in yesterday's championship game.
I spent a little bit of time teaching at Memorial, and the younger people, the word that comes out of their mouths is opportunity.
Now, we know thousands of people under the age of 40 don't typically vote.
So with an election around the corner, we're asking, what do people under 40 want from government?
Politicians, Terry. Welcome back. Well, with an election looming, possibly to be called right after next week's budget, Here and Now wants to try to talk to everyday people about politics. Now, my next two guests are in their 30s, and people between 20 and 49, well, they're a significant target for politicians, but typically they don't vote as much, certainly not as much as people between 50 and 70. So, what do voters under 40 want? It's time for the talk. Introduce you to our guest. Terry Hussey is the CEO of a project management consulting firm in Paris. Mimi Sharif works in the tech industry in workforce training, also runs an Ethiopian food business at the St. John's Farmers Market. So welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your priorities. What do you want to hear from the politicians? Terry.
My top priority has to be getting the influence of money out of politics, specifically corporate and union donations. I think it's got a really powerful influence on the political discourse in our province, and it's not necessarily a good thing. So it's something I think needs to be banned, and I care very deeply about that topic in particular.
So from either business or unions?
Either one.
Okay, what's the nasty influence?
Well, I think it's almost like a braking mechanism on elected officials, and by they can't actually do everything that they might want to do because they've got so many things they've got to do for the people who got them there through corporate donations, for example. Corporations aren't making donations because they particularly believe in a political party. I don't think so. I think they're doing it to be able to have access to the right people to further their business interests. Those business interests aren't always in alignment with the interests of society at large. And that's where my problem comes in.
So one of your concerns is actually about democracy in Newfoundland and Labrador. Mimi, what are you looking for in this election? What do you want to hear from the politicians?
So I think, I mean, it's typical you'd have the immigrant talking about immigration issues, but
Wasn't our intention?
I know, but no, this is what I think, and I think it's important for somebody who's been here for nearly 10 years to actually speak about, I think, the importance of encouraging people like myself that moved to Newfoundland as a student and who ended up staying and working and loving the province. So I think I'd love to hear about what the government's plan is and how they can really encourage other people similar to myself to stay in Newfoundland, find jobs.
And do you plan on sticking around?
Yeah, I mean, I only plan to be here for 2 years, and so I've now been here for 10, so I definitely do.
Right.
Yeah.
Does immigration actually touch on any of your priorities?
It does, actually. It's something that has to be at the top of every politician's platform. And they've sort of dipped their toes in and said, hey, we think immigration is important, but I think we need 20, 30,000 immigrants per year to make a difference here. We don't have enough people to grow the population necessary. We can't even sustain our population.
That's significantly beyond the targets that the government has expressed. I mean, that's a relative tidal wave compared to
we need a moonshot, like a Google-style moonshot. Like, give me a vision for Newfoundland and Labrador at 1 million people, and there's 500,000 immigrants. Make us the Toronto of Atlantic Canada. Just culturally diverse, and that's a future I think that's sustainable here.
Interesting, though, because if immigration is a federal jurisdiction, what can the province actually do to get Ottawa to understand how important it is? Because more people are dying in this province than are being born every year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to be screaming for help from Ottawa. Say, we need this more than anywhere else in Canada. We need your help. How do we fast track immigration? How do we provide supports for these people to move here, find jobs, start companies, whatever it takes to get them to stay here? Tax breaks, incentives, I don't care what it is. Make it so that their path to citizenship is easiest in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Mimi, you travel a fair bit?
I do. I travel a fair bit, and I think the federal government will understand the benefit of immigrants. I mean, look at any of the bigger cities; they've already benefited quite a bit from having immigrants kind of stay and live there. So I don't think that that's necessarily or should be a difficult sell for the federal government to understand the benefit that Newfoundland and Labrador could have.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's immigration, more people. What other issues do people, your friends, what do you care about?
I mean, right now, I think affordable childcare, and not because it necessarily affects myself, but it definitely affects, I think, everybody within my group of, whether it's friends or co-workers who are in the same group. Like, what is it that, what is available for us in that area?
It's interesting because last time we did one of these, the talks, it actually came up that actually is connected to immigration, that if you have childcare, then you actually have more successful immigration policies.
Yeah.
Anything else that's on your list?
For me, I mean, we're talking about the 20 to 40 cohort. I spent a little bit of time teaching at Memorial, and the younger people, the word that comes out of their mouths is opportunity. And I think it holds for the people in their 30s too. We want opportunity. And so opportunity is tied to jobs and a future here, industries that are growing and sustainable. And we always hear the same things: tourism, fishery, and forestry. Those are the things that the government talks about over and over again. But I mean, 30 years from now, what's going to be there? I think the technology sector is one that holds immense promise.
So you want to hear more innovation?
Absolutely. More. I mean, and not just, they talk about the technology sector in Newfoundland and Labrador being $1.6 billion. It needs to be $16 billion. That's the kind of talk we need to have. We can't be doing these incremental little bits. We need a dream. Someone needs to paint a picture for us. 1 million people, a $16 billion tech sector. Okay, how do we get there?
All right, when you think big, you think big. We've got to wrap things up very quickly. I'll give you a magic wand. You advise the politicians. How do they engage people who are in their 30s in this election, Mimi?
I think you really have to speak directly to the needs of people our age. So give us some concrete concrete, tangible items that you're willing to deliver on. Speak to us about the issues, whether it's climate change.
All right.
Yeah.
Terry?
Our generation has grown up swimming in information, so we've learned how to read between the lines, and we can tell when somebody's being real with us, and we can tell when they're pushing an agenda. So if they want to reach us, they need to be honest.
All right. Appreciate the frank discussion. Terry, Mimi, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So at the end of the fiscal year, basically, we're $300,000 short.
The Autism Society is short on cash, and the CEO says they'll have no choice but to cut services if they don't come up with the money soon. Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, as you heard earlier in the show, the Newfoundland and Labrador Autism Society has seen a huge drop in donations over the past 3 years and is struggling to make ends meet. The organization funds services and programs for children and adults with autism, programs like this one called Harvest for Hope. This afternoon, I spoke with Crocker about what the shortfall could mean for the future of the Autism Society.
Well, it's very challenging. We operate on more than a $1.6 million budget a year. We serve well over 300 participants a semester, weekly really, and it costs a lot of money to serve that many participants in St. John's and in regions as well. So, and costs of course are not getting less, they're growing. And over the last 3 years in particular, our fundraising has really been hit. There was a downturn in the economy. You'll hear business people, everybody's talking about how tough times have been the last 3 years or so. Well, it's been exactly the same with any organization, I guess, trying to do fundraising. Our net fundraising 3 years ago used to be close to $600,000 a year net. Now it's $300,000. So we're down $300,000 a year. And that's the crunch. So at the end of the fiscal year, basically, we're $300,000 short. So that's the crunch that we're in, and that can't continue. Government, the year before last, gave us $270,000 in bridge funding to get us through most of that. This past year just ended. They gave us $125,000 in bridge funding, which is wonderful. That still leaves us $200,000 in deficit. So here we are moving into the new fiscal, and we cannot move into the new fiscal without facing the realities and coming up with a balanced budget going in, and that means cuts. So there's a lot of people with autism. Talk to teachers, visit some schools, and you'll find out that over the last 10, 12, 15 years, the numbers of children with autism have just really taken off. And it's very challenging. It's challenging for the students with autism, it's challenging for the other students, for the teachers, for the families. So the programs are meant to help with that, certainly. In Newfoundland and Labrador, there would be approximately 2,000 children diagnosed with and having ASD or autism. Over the last couple of years, we've trimmed maintenance costs, property costs, admin costs, staff costs. We've trimmed as much as we can. We're at the point now where we can't trim anymore. We've already, replaced some people with other positions that are lower salaried. We've eliminated a couple of positions. So we're at the point now where we've actually got to start eliminating positions that we need. So the challenge becomes how to eliminate 4, 5, 6 positions without affecting programs too much.
How dire is this situation for you right now?
Well, I think any organization that's operating on a budget like we do and has to come up with close to $300,000 in cuts, it's pretty heavy duty. It's serious stuff, and thus my reaching out, I guess, and letting people know that it's as challenging as it is. I think sometimes people assume that organizations are fine or rolling along and there's no real challenges and so on. We do more fundraising now than we ever did. We have all staff involved and engaged in it. And we're netting half the money we used to before 3 years ago. It's very frustrating, it's very challenging. And then at the end of the day, of course, we do it all, and government provides their funding. It's for families and participants to receive programming. So
the elusive snowplow is a majestic beast. The citizens give it free range to roam the city. In return, the snowplow rids the streets of unwanted snow.
Planet Hearth?
Step aside, David Attenborough. Coming up, we explore the wild, wintry streets of St. John's.
Welcome back. Gander was hit with a blast of winter today, as we showed you before. So snow falling around and blowing for St. John's too.
Yeah, this feeling of winter had us thinking about the latest video from comedy group Not Quite in search of the elusive snowplow.
Yeah, so we'll share some of this with you and see if you can recognize the person who's narrating this.
On the most eastern coast of North America is the scenic island of Newfoundland. The Newfoundlanders have adapted well to this climate, and instead of fighting Mother Nature, they survive by using it to their advantage. The elusive snowplow is a majestic beast. The citizens give it free range to roam the city. In return, the snowplow rids the streets of unwanted snow. Beware of leaving your cars out overnight. Locals have reported waking up to their vehicles being towed. Better luck next time, Skip. Snowplows come in all shapes and sizes, Newfoundland and Labrador being home to 5 unique species. Oh look, there's a baby. Sadly, the future of the snowplow does not bode well in Newfoundland's current financial climate. Together they coexist peacefully in this chilly urban environment. That is, until a snowplow sideswipes your neighbor's vehicle yet again.
Well, if you didn't recognize the voice, of course, that was...
Former CBC reporter Otso Rizzori. Yeah.
Using what he learned for the powers of good in retirement.
Oh, look, there's a baby.
It was cute.
Very good.
All right, so we're going to be seeing much more of those snowplows?
Not for the Avalon. As I mentioned earlier, temperatures should be up above 0 for the remainder of the week, it looks like. If you take a look at the future tracker, that's not the case up through Labrador, though. We're going to hang on to that low pressure system that's just sitting off the coast and continuing to bring that snow over and along the coast. So going to see that through the day on Wednesday, and then things will start to move a little bit further south. So the northern peninsula, west coast could see some flurries or showers into the afternoon on Wednesday, with generally cloudy skies, some peaks of sun as well. But we are looking at that potential for flurries anywhere across the island through the afternoon. Now, temperatures, as I mentioned, will be above 0, so that's why we have that shower. I have that potential for showers in the forecast as well. Likely starting as showers, and then towards the evening and overnight hours is when you could see that change over to snow, but shouldn't accumulate too much at all. Corner Brook sitting around 5 degrees, Port aux Basques 2, and then up through Labrador. Even Cartwright could be above 0, so either rain or snow mix through the afternoon. -2 degrees for Happy Valley Goose Bay, and Nain's still going to hold on to that wind and snow through the afternoon on Wednesday. Now, looking ahead into Thursday, again, this low isn't really moving much. It's stalled there. It is starting to pull away, so that's certainly good news. We should see Friday as generally clear as a ridge of high pressure moves in. And then that'll continue through the afternoon. Heading towards Saturday, though, that's when things will get a little bit messy again. The next weather maker moves in, bringing in that cloud cover through the day. And then for the west coast, starting as some snow, some warmer air pushing along with it. And then it looks like we could see that change over to some showers through the afternoon. This accumulation, again, a little bit early. So if that moves at all, we won't see too much in that way. So here's a look at the 5-day forecast. Some winds tomorrow staying strong, gusting upwards of about 60 kilometers per hour, 2 degrees. There's those above 0 temperatures that I mentioned. Friday, plenty of sunshine, 5 degrees, could even reach a high near 6. And then same thing for Saturday with rain towards the evening hours. And then for Central, same thing. So 1 degree tomorrow, breezy, flurries tomorrow night, or rather Wednesday night. And then either rain or snow on Thursday. Temperature still above 0, though, 4 degrees, 8 by Friday, and Saturday sitting around 7. Now for western portions of the island, still looking at temperatures above 0. That chance of flurries or showers through Thursday. Friday, sunshine, and then again that rain on Sunday. Now up through Labrador, especially along the coast, again looking at that potential for snow right through Thursday, essentially. About 5 centimeters for Happy Valley Goose Bay tomorrow towards the coast. We're looking at between 20 to 30 centimeters. That bullseye is around Makovic. And then into western Labrador, flurries and gray generally through Thursday. Friday, peaks of sun and that potential for flurries, and then that snow will move in late day for Saturday. So let's look at your forecast. I'll have your weather photo coming up. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, some students at Memorial University took advantage of the sunshine this weekend. They headed out to Kitty Vitty for something called the Trash Tag Challenge, which has been making the rounds on social media. Take a look.
We found a lot of cigarette butts and plastic, well, straws and plastic bags and styrofoam, which is really surprising to me. I didn't think we'd find styrofoam, but all that bad stuff.
So every semester we try and organize a cleanup, but we don't usually get a good turnout. And with the trash tag movement happening, I decided to make a post and see if anybody would be interested in one of those. I figured if social media was involved, we might get a little bit of a bigger turnout.
Yes, very disheartening for sure. I mean, there's lots of wildlife here, ducks, other birds, etc. So it's very sad to see because lots of this stuff can interfere with the wildlife.
It's kind of upsetting because we see ducks around and they could just mistake it for food, and I just feel like it's unnecessary. There are trash cans everywhere, so why not just put it there?
Someone was nice enough to throw it out in the river. Honestly, it doesn't surprise me. It makes me sad, really. We have a large number of people in the province who do like to try and keep this place clean, but for the most part, the small population that doesn't, they like to pass the blame and just toss their garbage wherever they feel like. Considering Robin Hood Bay is just a couple clicks up the road, would have took 10 minutes out of their day, but I guess it was too much of an inconvenience.
There's a lot of things that are really small that you don't really see unless you get down and start looking closer to the ground.
At a time, people were not as educated as they are today, and today, there's a lot more awareness about our human effects on the environment. So it's not a good thing that this is still happening to the degree that it is, considering you know better now.
So since we're talking about snow,
nice.
Figured it's a beautiful winter wonderland out there.
Yeah, so much snow it's knocking those trees down on the right there.
Something like that. I'll tell you, yeah, it is a beautiful shot. I'll tell you where this photo was taken and who took it when we come back.
Welcome back. An unusual visitor at Cape Spear this weekend. Just take a look at this.
Gorgeous.
It's fantastic. That's what is that thing?
That is gerfalcon. Bruce McTavish spotted this glorious bird by Cape Spear, was it?
Yep.
With the wingspan of up to 4 feet wide. It's the largest of the falcon species.
Yeah, and these birds of prey, very uncommon here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Most of our gerfalcon visitors come from the Arctic. That's why he's all nice and white.
Just see you make eye contact there.
That's big.
It's crazy.
4 feet.
There.
Looks
Oh,
kind of
that's
semi-aerodynamic, doesn't it?
It's a beautiful bird.
Beautiful bird.
Wonderful.
My goodness. Nice. Thank you, Bruce.
Well, another beautiful photo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very white, just like that bird. And a little bit of sun peeking through there. That photo was taken in Springdale.
I wasn't that far off.
No,
Yep.
that's right. So beautiful shot there. Thank you so much for sending that in, Tara. If you have any that you'd like to send us, send them to CBC North, wow. NL Photos at cbc.ca.
Old habits die hard.
CBC North.
Wow. We start talking about the Arctic, that's why.
Her former team will pass them on to us, and we'll get them on eventually.
Sorry about that.
Well, thanks so much, everyone, for joining us on this Monday.
Yep. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.